We're also streaming video. We're archiving video at prisonplanet.tv. It's 15 cents a day, $5.95 a month. I would give it away free, but obviously we can't finance that. You get it first at prisonplanet.tv. Then we post most of it at the YouTube channel. One of our YouTube channels, now over 101 million views on that channel total. At the official Alex Jones channel. This live stream will also be posted there later today, but complete commercial-free also podcast at prisonplanet.tv. And we are the alternative media. We're on the tip of the spear. It is daunting to always be in the arena, to get the criticism, to get the attacks, but we don't have a future. And I have 3 wonderful children. I have a wonderful wife. I love my parents. I love my 86, 87-year-old grandmother, my last living grandparent. There it is. Congress approves. Approval plunges to 9%. First time ever rating for lawmakers sinks to single digits, and that was 2008. But that number was also out last week, so maybe we can find it in the news section. Good job finding that. That's WorldNet Daily. Again,
I'd like to add to, part of this fight here, the resistance, the patriot movement, the Tea Party, what we're about love and respect and treating people with the dignity that they deserve. And here's another quote from Orwell's book. If he were allowed, talking about the average citizen, if he were allowed contact with foreigners, he would discover that they were creatures similar to himself, and that most of what he has been told about them is lies. So that's just another parallel. Orwell's showing that the governments of most countries are going to tell the population lies about the supposed enemies. If I draw the parallel of, in the Orwellian Nightmare, I talk about this documentary film, Rick Steves' Iran. He's a PBS documentary. He's one of only 2 journalists, I think, American journalists allowed in Iran. And he talked to average Iranian citizens, and they're just like me and you. They just want to have a good life. They want to have friends and family.
They say Tehran looks like basically Chicago.
It's a beautiful city, and they're just like us. They know that their government and their officials are criminal and organized criminal mafias are running it, just like over here. So, that's part of this show, is to enlighten ourselves into the truth, and so that we can change ourselves and become more loving people, because that's what the system wants you to do, is to hate the Iranians and the Syrians. Oh, they're all evil. And you hear these morons to go and say that we should turn the Middle East into a parking lot.
Well, they like stereotypes. I mean, they want the stereotype of Iran, they're all want to murder us, or the stereotype of Israel, that they all have one view, or the stereotype of Americans. I mean, I've had Europeans I've talked to come to Texas, and they think, I thought there were tumbleweeds and cows everywhere, and that's, the state's so big. I mean, that is what it's like on its western side, but, they see big, tall trees and rolling hills and, beautiful lakes, and, people driving cars and knowing how to use computers, and they're actually blown away. New Yorkers come here, most of them that I talk to, believing that it's literally John Wayne, Wild Wild West. That's Hollywood. Sure, you can go out to the boondocks and see folks, roping cows and stuff, and it's great. And, farmers and people. The point is, we're all human beings. We want the same thing for our families. We want dignity. We want honor. We want private property. Now, let's get into some more quotes from the book and then parallel it from 1984 to your book that's an incredible read, Big Brother, The Orwellian Nightmare Come True by Mark Dice. Again, available at Infowars.com.
Look at this, just another random quote that I've highlighted from my personal copy of 1984. As for sending a letter through the mail, it was out of the question. By routine, it was not even secret. All letters were opened in transit. So, I mean, just, again, wireless email tracking, warrantless email tracking.
And by the way, since 9/11, they now admit they open mail to make sure there's not drugs in it, but they're really reading it.
Right here. Pornosec, the subsection of the fiction department, which turned out cheap pornography for distribution.
To degrade humanity. Start over.
Yeah, so here's a quote about, there was a section in the government called Pornosec, and this was the government creating pornography for the people in order to destroy their relationships, in order to break up the families. And this is what we have. This is what the Illuminati elite does. That's why you look at the garbage on television. You look at when I was a kid, not that long ago, I'm 33 years old, I grew up on quality shows like Family Ties, and look at this garbage that you see on television.
And by the way,
today.
it's not just, they sell it like it's fun, it's sexy, you're missing out on something. all the major studies show that after you watch a lot of porn, it actually lowers your sex drive, actually makes you not attracted, you know, as much or involved. It basically burns you out and actually stunts you towards real enjoyment and you know, with your mate. And they know what they're doing. I mean, it literally creates a facsimile of the real thing and is being done as a weapon system.
Let me just rapid fire just a few of the pages that I have highlighted here in my book, and I just think they'll resonate with people. The Tales of Goldstein, this is the enemy in the book, and his underground army, she said, this is Julia, the girlfriend, were simply a lot of rubbish, which the party had invented for its own purposes. Gee, seems a lot like Osama-bin-Laden.
Governor Ridge admitted they put out fake terror alerts. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's see, here's another just random highlight here. The public could be made to accept the most flagrant violations of reality because they never fully grasped the enormity of what was demanded of them, and they were not sufficiently interested in public events to notice what was happening. The lack of understanding. By lack of understanding, they remained sane. No, by lack of understanding, we remain destroyed. And so it just keeps going on. And, you know, I want to just ask people, maybe I don't promote my book enough. You know, I think that everybody should get off the computer. And I think you can save yourself hundreds of hours of web surfing by reading a book, you know, and that's why I have behind me some of my favorite books about the New World Order and the Illuminati. I have hundreds of books that I read. I love sitting outside and in the nature and reading and studying, get away from the computer, and that's part of my point. Here, another quote: "The Brotherhood," that's the kind of the resistance, "cannot be wiped out because it is not an organization in the ordinary sense." So that's us. You know, we're the resistance. We can't be wiped out. We're not an organization in the traditional sense. And we're on the verge of really being able to topple these scum. I mean, look at what we're doing now. We're bypassing the mainstream media. Everybody who has a cell phone with a video camera can put it on YouTube. Luke Radowski's confronting all these scum. We got Gary Franchi doing his own video shows. I mean, look at, we're replacing these scum, and we're getting very close to, I think, the revolution. But it's also very dangerous because they could pull their population reduction, they could pull a false flag attack and really, really try to demonize us. But I think we're getting close. I mean, look at what we're doing. Look at what we're capable of delivering the knockout punch.
And by the way, when we say we're close to winning, that's people who love liberty, who value the truth, who value dignity and sovereignty and not being a slave, people who value reality. More and more, the alternative media is just surging and growing, and the mainstream system is losing all credibility. Mark, I want to get in the final segment with you into more from your book, because there's just so much in here where it just goes through all the different ways you're being tracked, controlled, and then the future of it. In fact, let's look at the future, some of the new things they've got coming online against us when we come back. It's all in the book, Big Brother, The Orwellian Nightmare Come True, Infowars.com. Get your copy. Get it out to folks. Well, we'll obviously be getting Mark Dice back on again in the near future. Love his new video Skype connection from there in his living room. Again, I was very excited to help Mark print these books. He's always done it on demand with his other great titles that he's written. We also carry those at Infowars.com. It just adds such a great expense. So I went ahead and printed these up for him so that he could, expand out into the future. And I just think it's a great book. Everybody should get it. And you can get it with 63 documents the government doesn't want you to read by Jesse Ventura, another excellent book. And when you get it with the book, you can get one of my best-selling films, a whole bunch of titles. You can pick which one you want, absolutely free on top of it, or get the book alone at Infowars.com and supports alternative media and what we're doing. Mark, in closing, your book, again, parallels 1984, but goes way beyond and shows what's coming next. You kind of alluded to that earlier, but get into some of the areas that you break down in the book.
Well, there's systems that have been tested for years, and they're talking about putting them on the streets of London for the Olympics in 2012 that listen to everyone on the street and they analyzed the sound patterns using eight different characteristics from 100 yards away. These microphones are just on top of buildings, and if you yell at someone, or if the computers detect anger in your speech, or if the pitch is too fast, if it's too loud, it can just detect this.
Aren't they already testing those? I think that's already
They've tested them. Yeah, it's in Holland. They've tested it. They've dispatched them. They've already been used. They've made arrests from them. So the company's trying to pitch that to London, to the city of London, and have them put on the streets to keep the city safe for the Olympics. Now, let me just say this. We know that there's the case of the laptop computers in Pennsylvania watching the students, and we're talking now about the Apple watching us, the locations of where we're going. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there are already apps available in the App Store for iPhone and Android that use the microphone and your camera in your cell phone and listen to you, and it can determine whether you're inside or outside, or can determine there are certain stores now that are putting out sounds, emitting sounds in the store. And then if you have an app, that you authorize the app to have access to your microphone at all times on your cell phone, so when you walk into the store, your microphone is active, it detects that you're in the store and can log you in that way. So there are already apps on your phone or in the App Store that use your microphone and the camera in your cell phone to listen to you at all times. It's already happening now.
And they roll it out as, oh, it's an app, but the phone's set up to do that, and they've all got back doors on record for the government or private industry to dial right into it.
There is an app for the phones, for the iPhone or the Android, it's an alarm clock app, and it listens to you sleeping. And if it detects you rustling in your sleep, or if it hears that you're already in the stages of waking up, then it will wake you up at the appropriate time. If you're sound asleep, it won't wake you up. It has these different detections to wake you up.
Yeah, this is globalist tracker systems where the phone becomes this guardian devil, not guardian angel, surveilling you. And they're coming out with now old folks' homes in the U.S. where the government gives them extra money if they'll have smart fridges that watch what they're eating, that have RFID in the toilet, that tracks that you're taking your pills. Again, surveilling you for your safety. 2 years ago, England. Sorry, go ahead.
I got a whole section in Big Brother about Facebook, and I called up to a local computer show here in San Diego, and I brought up that the police, there's numerous instances. I footnote them all to local news stories of college students being arrested and high school students being arrested because the police secretly go on their Facebook page and find photos of them holding alcoholic beverages, and then physically find them and arrest them. Okay, so if you're a high school student, there's
Mark, stay there. We got to go to break. We'll do 5 more minutes with you. I want to go over some more examples of what's currently happening and what's happening in England. Stay with us.